The Book of Genesis. This isn't just ancient literature, this is the foundation stone of Judeo-Christian civilization, the wellspring of our understanding about human origins, divine purpose, and the fundamental questions that have haunted humanity since the dawn of consciousness. The significance of Genesis. Genesis, Bereshit in Hebrew, meaning, in the beginning, serves as the prologue to all of Scripture. It's the first book of the Torah, the Pentateuch, and the entire Bible. But more than that, it's humanity's origin story. Every civilization has its creation narrative, but Genesis stands unique in its theological depth and enduring relevance. The twofold structure. The book divides naturally into two magnificent movements. The first 11 chapters present the universal story, creation, fall, flood, and the scattering at Babel. This is God's dealing with all humanity. Then, in chapter 12, the camera zooms in dramatically to focus on one man, Abraham, and through him, one family that will become the conduit of God's blessing to the entire world. The creation accounts. The opening chapters give us not one but two complementary creation narratives. The majestic 7-day account in chapter 1 shows a God who speaks order from chaos, culminating in the creation of humanity as the crown of creation. Then chapter 2 gives us the intimate portrait, God forming man from dust, breathing life into him, placing him in a garden, and creating woman as his perfect counterpart. The fall and its consequences. The tragic beauty of the fall narrative in chapter 3 reveals profound truths about human nature. The serpent's deception, the fatal choice, the immediate consequences, these aren't just ancient events but patterns we see repeated daily in human experience. The curses pronounced here explain so much of our broken world, the struggle with nature, the pain of relationships, the inevitability of death. The flood narrative. In the flood story, we see both God's justice and his mercy in stark relief. The world had become so corrupt that divine judgment was inevitable, yet Noah found grace in God's eyes. The ark becomes a powerful symbol of salvation, as Peter would later call it, a type of baptism, 1 Peter 3 verses 20-21. And the rainbow covenant reminds us that God's mercy triumphs over judgment. The call of Abraham. At Babel, humanity's pride led to scattering. But in chapter 12, God begins his redemptive counter-movement through one man's obedience. The Abrahamic covenant contains three magnificent promises, descendants as numerous as the stars, a land for inheritance, and most importantly, that through him all nations would be blessed. This third promise points forward to Christ, making Abraham the father of all who believe. The patriarchal narratives. The stories of Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph aren't moral fables about perfect heroes. These are raw, honest accounts of deeply flawed people through whom God worked anyway. Jacob the deceiver becomes Israel, the one who wrestles with God. Joseph's betrayal by his brothers leads to the salvation of the very family that rejected him. These narratives show us that God's purposes aren't derailed by human failure. Theological themes. Genesis introduces concepts that shape all subsequent scripture. The nature of God as creator and covenant maker. Human dignity as God's image bearers. The devastating effects of sin. The necessity of faith. The pattern of election and promise. The concept of blessing through suffering.